I want to share the reverse arm levitation induction. And the reason why I want to do this is because we're all familiar with Milton Erickson's induction where he raised the arm into the air. Mm-hmm. When I went to my very first Ericksonian hypnosis training, the class actually started with with an arm levitation. I did not know that that's what it was, and no one in the class knew because we were all brand new. But the instructor, the hypnotist who was teaching us Ericksonian hypnosis, came out and said, "Welcome to the class," and told us some of the things that we were going to be doing. Conversational hypnosis, I now recognize, and then began by giving us very Ericksonian suggestions to feel lightness in the arm, to pick an arm, to raise one of the arms, and of course he was doing a classic Milton Erickson, arm levitation induction, and he even had a couple of high responders in the room, and he had them move their hand to their face. He did about 30 minutes of introduction to the class, and at the end, there were probably 20 people in the class. There were probably 2 or 3 people with their hands stuck to their face, right? And so he started that class really the same way that Milton Erickson used the arm levitation. He used it as a convincer, a proof. Because even if their arm only raised in the air and they didn't bring it to their face, or if they did bring it to their face, he would then have them open their eyes. Do you always have your hand on your face? Well, no, what's it doing there? It surprises them that it's there. And the other thing about it is that it becomes a proof, because if you hold your hand like this or even like this for 20 minutes, your hand, you're gonna feel it. Mm-hmm. So Milton Erickson used this as a proof to prove that people were hypnotized. Now, the arm levitation as Milton Erickson did it is pretty cool. It has some uses. I've used it with some of my clients over the years in traditional hypnosis. But it is the elicitation of hypnotic phenomena. It does require creativity. It also requires, of course, following hypnotic suggestions. These are all good things, and we can accomplish that. But you're going against gravity. So why not make it easier? Instead of going against gravity, why don't we go with the gravity, right? So for those of you who want to use an Ericksonian arm levitation, we can actually use a reverse arm levitation, where the arm goes down instead of up. And it always works. It never fails. And the reason why it never fails is a lot like that puffy white cloud always floats into the horizon. That's how the earth works. Well, the way gravity works is it will always cause the hand to lower. And so this is a creative induction. We can do this in a number of different ways. I've seen stage hypnotists often have somebody imagine that they have a pail, like at the beach, right, and some sand from a scoop, and they add scoops of the sand. I think it's actually Mark Savard here in Las Vegas. I went to his show a couple weeks ago, great stage hypnosis show to watch. He used a variation of this, and he said, imagine I have a garden hose and I'm filling that bucket with water, because we all know water is heavy. So there are a lot of different ways to do this. I like to do this, see I'm all decked out in fancy jewelry, so I like to do this with gold bangles, because who doesn't like gold bangles, right? Especially heavy gold. Because heavy gold means you have a lot of what? Money. Wealth. That's right. So people love this. So go ahead and hold out your hand just like this and bring your attention to a spot on the back of your hand. Focus on maybe a hair or a freckle or a spot on the back of your hand. And just let your wrist bend a little bit and become loose and limp, and let your hand relax, and focus on that spot on the back of your hand. Bring all of your attention to this spot on the back of your hand. You can set aside any concerns of yesterday or any worries about tomorrow, and be right here in this present moment, bring all of your attention to that spot on the back of your hand. Now go ahead and close your eyes down, and with your eyes closed down, imagine that I'm going to put a gold hoop, a gold bangle on the back of your hand. And you can feel the weight of that gold bangle or that gold hoop on the back of your hand. And as you feel the weight of that gold bangle touching the skin, perhaps the cool metal of that gold bangle, You can begin to feel its weight weigh your hand down a little bit. And of course, if I give you another gift of gold, another gold bangle, and set that on the back of your wrist as well, you'll notice that it becomes heavier and heavier. And then it becomes difficult to hold that hand up, even with only 2 hoops. But of course you can. But as I place another bangle in that hand, this time a heavier gold hoop, you'll notice that it becomes difficult to hold the hand in the air. And so let that arm relax. Let your elbow relax. Let your wrist relax. And let the weight of those 3 gold bangles begin to pull your arm down. And I notice that it's fallen already, another gold hoop added, and another number 5, and another number 6. Like those pictures we used to see in National Geographic of the ancient people with all of those gold hoops. Heavier and heavier, too heavy to hold. And now just let your hand rest. Let your hand rest on your thigh. Let it rest completely and breathe in. Breathe out, relaxing every muscle in the body. And as you continue to relax, deeper and deeper, with each number and each breath, 3, 2, 1, 0. Allow yourself to access that resource state that we call hypnosis. Setting aside concerns of yesterday, any fears of tomorrow, and being fully present in this chair, relaxing not only the muscles of the body, but even the thoughts of the mind. Each number and each breath a little bit deeper. 5, 4, all the way down now. You're doing perfect. 3, 2, 1, 0. That feels pretty good, doesn't it? To access this resource state that we call hypnosis. And this, of course, isn't a resource state that I've created for you. It's one that you've created yourself by following the process and letting go of any tension and reaching this profound and deep level. Never asleep, but deeply relaxed. In fact, a few minutes ago, it was as if you were almost trying to hold that hand up, but that hand feels so good relaxing on the lap that if you try to lift that hand, you'll find it becomes locked down even tighter, held down by that gold, feeling completely relaxed and heavy. You're doing perfect. Letting go absolutely and following this process into hypnosis. But because this is only a demonstration, and it is time to reorient before you open your eyes, taking a breath, just breathe in. Notice the feeling of oxygen reaching every cell of the body and stretch out any muscles that need to be stretched. Move that hand that a minute ago didn't seem to want to move, and when I count to 3, open the eyes, feeling fantastic. 1, 2, 3. Pretty cool process. And it's a reverse levitation. It always works because of gravity. You told me before we started, I used to be a little bit difficult. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is, it took 5, 6, 7 bangles for that hand to go down. But guess what? It will always go down. And the reason why it will always go down is because unlike the Ericksonian levitation, we're actually working with gravity. So it becomes something low risk. And of course, if we want to ever speed up the process, we can. I can give a direct, hold out your hand. I can give a direct suggestion. Simply let that hand fall all the way down. completely relaxed. So I can speed up the process if I become impatient. I find that with clients, when I've done this in the office though, I really want them. So I can go to 50 bangles if I want to. I've never had to go that far. Now there are a couple elements here. Something we talked about earlier was eye fixation. We have that eye fixation, we have the ocular fatigue. The eyes become tired, the arm becomes tired. Now, the reason why this induction is important, not only because it's a kinesthetic induction. Sometimes people say, well, I have somebody who's really visual, I have somebody who's really auditory. How do you do a kinesthetic induction? This is a kinesthetic induction. It's for the person tactile, sensorial, feeling. They feel weight. Could you feel the bangle on the back of your hand? Mm-hmm. Could you feel the cool, or I think I called it the cool or the cold, the gold on your skin? At one point, again, this is really autogenic training. It's creating that from within. So it creates all of these elements, and it's an induction that can be really powerful. It is also a short induction. Mm-hmm. So the question was asked to me, what do we do for an induction for the third or fourth or fifth session, right? I'm getting bored, maybe they're getting bored. Do we do the same old thing over again? Well, I can do this. It takes 3 minutes, and this is why my first sessions are almost always about 90 minutes, and I sometimes go to 2 hours. I mean, I take a lot of time for the pre-talk and assessment and to really process their experience with them. But my goal in successive sessions, ultimately, I want clients in my office for about 40 minutes. Yeah. So when I'm doing a third or a fourth or a fifth session, I'm scheduling them for 45 minutes. I want them in and out in about 40 minutes. Well, I just chopped off 12 minutes of induction with a reverse arm levitation, and it's interesting. It's engaging. It can be part kinesthetic, part visual. Here's something else I want to point out. To this point, as I've been teaching these things, we really haven't touched on deepeners very much. But I used several deepeners, but they were very simple. And allow yourself the first time, right, and let that hand continue to relax your whole body, a little progressive muscle relaxation, with each number and each breath relaxing further. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. But what happened here was that you went 3, 2, 1, 0. That's not very high. The next time I started at 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's a little bit of fractionation. If the highest we were was 3, and we went to 0, but now we went to 5 and went to 0, and sometimes with my clients I'll then go 7 and then to 0, and sometimes I'll go 10 and to 0. The numbers become a method of fractionation. Here's another thing about it. Kind of like progressive muscle relaxation, a number count deepener does not impress hypnotists at a hypnosis convention. I've never had a hypnotist say, Richard, your backwards number count was phenomenal. That was the greatest backwards number count I've ever experienced in my entire life. No one's ever said that to me. I have had people say, you've written a bunch of books on hypnosis and you purport to be the thought leader in clinical hypnosis. Why do you use a number count so often? Here's why. It's consistent with cultural expectations. So why does a hypnotist have a pocket watch? It's because Bela Lugosi did. That's why. So James Braid in the 1850s, when he was doing scrotal tumor removal using hypnosis and as an anesthesia before chemical anesthesia was invented, because it was the 1850s, chemical anesthesia wasn't popularized till the 1870s or 1880s. Scrotal tumor removal surgery sounds horrible, and he actually wrote his induction, which was to hold the lancet, a light in front of their eyes, and have them fixate on that spot. Well, Bela Lugosi, his character of Dracula, did hypnosis. But instead of a medical lancet, he held a pocket watch, eye fixation, right? That's why the pocket watch is the symbol of hypnosis. And Dracula, remember Bela Lugosi wasn't a hypnotist, he was an actor, director. That's who came up with the script. Look deep into my eyes. I am Count Dracula, right? And I got the pocket watch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, that's what Bela Lugosi did. Sesame Street is a parody of the adult world. So now that you know that, go watch Sesame Street. It's so much better. It is just a mockery and parody of the adult world. So the character Count from Sesame Street is actually Bela Lugosi. And he counts, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so Hollywood has adopted counting numbers down means you are being hypnotized. So here's what happens in my client's mind when I do a number count deepener. Again, it doesn't impress hypnotists at a hypnosis convention, but my client, go ahead and close your eyes for a minute, with each number and each breath, relaxing a little bit further. 10, 9, 8, 7. You're doing perfect. Relaxing completely, going into deep trance. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. What's happening to her right now is I'm counting backwards, and her conscious mind is saying, because remember, she's never been to a hypnotist before, holy mackerel, they really do count backwards. They actually do this. He's really counting backwards. Why? That's what they did in Office Space. That's what they did in Bela Lugosi's movies. That's what they did on Sesame Street. He's really counting backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down now. 3, 2, 1, 0. And you have been culturally conditioned to believe that when the hypnotist is done counting down, you are what? Hypnotized. And so when I count backwards, no matter what resistance might be left following the induction, you've given it up now because we have 120, 140 years of history that has culturally conditioned me to accept that I am being hypnotized when I hear a hypnotist count backwards. So just like the reverse arm levitation is an easy way, easier than an arm levitation, a reverse arm levitation, to bring somebody into trance, a number count doesn't impress anybody at a hypnosis convention when you're teaching deepening techniques, but every single client in your office will suspend the critical factor of the conscious mind because it's culturally consistent with what they believe creates the resource state of hypnosis. And they absolutely let go. Now notice with my numbers I get pretty creative. Rarely do I just go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. But I introduce some fractionation. 10, 9, 8, 7. You're doing perfect. All the way down now. Each number, each breath. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Doing perfect. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Every time I start at a higher number than where I left off, it's capturing their attention and bringing them back into this resource state of hypnosis. The same way opening and closing the eyes does. And so we can use fractionation from this perspective as well with a number count. So you combine a reverse arm levitation with a number count, and you have a surefire way to bring to create the resource state that we call hypnosis. Now we can go to anywhere. I have done this in stage hypnosis shows, and we can go into demonstrations of hypnotic phenomena, hot, cold, negative, positive hallucinations, etc. Create a hypnosis show. We can also go into, again, therapeutic hypnosis, or even simply experiential hypnosis. A lot of people simply want to know what hypnosis feels like. And if I have to do a 7-minute demonstration at a Kiwanis club, right, you can do a reverse arm levitation with the whole group. And it's a great way to do a group induction with a simple number count. And now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, go ahead and open your eyes. All I did was a reverse arm levitation and a number count. Now I asked the group this question. At any way and at any level, is your experience different now than it was just a few minutes ago? Are you more focused? Are you more relaxed? Do you feel like you have better understood how hypnosis can guide a person into the states that can help them to truly feel their very best, the group's going to say yes. So now you have a short, powerful, and interesting induction for a group demonstration. And so I find it to be a pretty useful tool. Did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah.
Great.